And we're live.
Doom. Dun, 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 dun. What up, my guys? Welcome to another show, man. I'm your host, Jay Money. We got our guy Ronald Cabang with us. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Doing these shows, Ronald, just kind of like hypes me up, man. That shit get to, you know what I'm saying? We might even have to start doing it early. It starts the day off right. I'm still at
Mhm.
Circle right now. We at the stadium swim. No, I'm not at Circle. I'm at the house, man. But I had some fun with my guys, man. What's up with you, Ronald? Everything cool with you?
Yeah, everything's man. I think like we were just talking right before the show. Like even in
Mhm.
Vegas when we were kind of like hanging out and stuff, like we were making money. You obviously not on the table. I did both. I was playing sports and on the
Yeah.
table. Did well in both. And then yeah, things been going really well. Baseball, right? You don't mess with soccer either. So I did Premier League, NBA, all that stuff. WNBA, all that stuff was really good during the break. And then yesterday I found out I was like number one at Wager Talk for WNBA, and then I went 0 and 2.
Ah,
I don't know. I didn't check this morning. I
got
don't
to
know
your
if I'm.
head, man.
Yeah, I know it got
Got
into
to your
my head.
head.
So I don't know if I went. Yesterday I went 0 and 2, so I don't know if I'm still number one or not. But we're up there, right? We're still making money, and hopefully we continue doing that towards the end of the season. And we got a lot more data now, so it's I mean the end of the season is when we start to thrive.
Hey, you still number one in my book, my brother. But no, I like your style, Ronald. Got to hang out with Ronald for most of the time, but like Ronald's a cool guy, man. He's a
Yeah,
good dude,
appreciate
man.
it.
But we're here to talk some WNBA with you guys, man. We got 4 games on the slate today. We're trying to stay locked in, trying to get some cash. Let's go to the first game up, man. We're going over here to the streets of Indiana in this one. We got the Fever land 4 points, man. I want to say this real quick, man, because like sometimes I know a lot of people kind of just watch some shows and then I think something echoing, Ronald.
Was
I
that
feel
me?
a little, I just heard a little echo. Let me see. I don't think it's there anymore. But regards to that, sometimes like if you like something, sometimes you got to do your own research. The lines be moving all over the place and shit. Fever opened up at one. I said all that to say Fever opened up at 1.5. Now it's at 4, right? So sometimes you do got to be on the right side. Like I remember I was the last video I did on my channel, I was talking about the Mystics game. That shit literally opened at 9, at +9. It was at 6.5, 5.5. Then if you wait to the day of, it was +3.5. Then they end up losing by 4. So it's just one of those instances where you could lose a ton of value. And then if that late line doesn't cash, but the early one did, you're gonna be super pissed. But regards to
Yeah.
that, Fever land 4 at the house versus the Storm. Not sure if I could trust the Fever, Ronald. I feel like every time we do a show, I kind of like them, and then they go out there
Mhm.
and get smacked. But they do got Alyssa Smith back, right? Total
Yeah.
sitting at 160 in this one. It's come down from 162.5. Me and you were talking about this one last night, leaning the Fever. The line has went up, but I mean, sometimes they could just make you feel better, right? So, what do you think is going
Yeah.
on with this game? We know the Fever got the rest advantage. The Storm playing 3 games in 5 days, all on the
Yeah.
road as well. Last one before they head to the house, Ronald. How you looking at this game, my brother?
Yeah, this one was tough. Like you said, we saw this line yesterday. I didn't know it was available, and you sent me the screenshot. I was like, yeah, I already ran my numbers. I actually had Fever -4 as my projection, so it's like on the dot now. Like I missed that number already. But like I said, like you said, there's a lot of different implications in this game. I mean, do we know if the Storm really want to get the W? You know what I mean? Like so. The other thing to look at too is the over. In this game, it's come down from 162.5. I know the road, for the most part, the Storm has been playing really good since the end of July, especially defensively, right? But when they lost Gabby Williams, they've given up 2 games to the over, 2 straight games to the over. They've also gone over in 7 of 10 road games this season when the total is 165 or less. So they're able to sneak over these lower totals. And if you look on the Fever side, it's sort of the opposite of the Storm. They were playing poorly at the end of July, and then the last couple games they did cover. They've also gone over their team total in 5 straight games. So their offense is starting to pick up when the Storm's defense is starting to fail. So that's kind of why when we were talking about it yesterday, to me it looks like a Fever game. I know it's
Mhm.
gone over to -4 now, where exactly where the projection was. But I do still like the over in this one. Maybe you know how I mess with team totals sometimes. So maybe
Mhm.
I look towards the Fever team total to continue going in that direction.
Yeah, I was going. It's crazy because I was going to ask you. Oh shit! Oh my god, Chris off in this motherfucker. Oh, we finna cash today for sure. What's up with you, Chris? Everything cool with you?
What up, Jay? Yeah, man, I'm here. A couple minutes late, but yeah, I'm here. Everything good, man. Try to get some cash in the W, just like y'all.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. Yeah, I don't know why I thought Ronald was telling me that Skee was coming on. Ronald, did you
He's
say?
right here. He's about to come on right now. I just saw
Oh,
him pop
okay,
in.
so you're right. Okay, bet.
There
Oh,
you
okay,
go.
the 4Ps. Man, this
What up,
guy
what
at the
up?
West.
At the
Man,
Super
I'm not.
Bowl.
I ain't fucking with Westgate. That Skee, that might be your good luck spot. I hate this spot. I'm never betting at that motherfucker. I like the
Hey,
Westgate, but I'm not betting there ever again, bro.
I'm
What's up
3-0
with you,
on my
Skee?
races today, but yeah, I'm gonna try to
This,
keep that good luck flowing for me over here.
this guy
I
here. Hey,
I
keep
know
it
you,
going.
Ski. I know you got to drop in for one game, and then so we'll do that next. We just started the Storm and the Fever. I don't know if you have anything on that.
Nah, y'all got it, bro.
Man,
Chris,
Skee, you
what
should
you?
have came in on the game. You on, my guy. Nah, it's cool. Chris, you like some on that Storm Fever spot or what? What are we doing? You like the over?
I like the over. I think RC just kind of talked about. I know the number going down, but man, y'all know y'all been doing this way longer than I have. It's so many inconsistencies in the WNBA, man. You see this Storm team come out, they absolutely get smoked, give up 100 points to the Chicago Skyball teams in the last game, and I can't trust the Fever like laying points. The Fever 0-5 against the spread as a home favorite, 1-4 straight up. Also, the other thing is when you look at consistencies, the way we kind of look at that from an SDQL perspective, you can look at teams off a win, off a loss, right? Fever 1-7 straight up, 3-5 against the spread, off a loss. But more importantly, because when these bottom tier teams play, I'm not looking to play on one side or the other most of the time. I'm looking at the total, right? Fever 7-1 to the over off a win. So when they win, they typically don't play no defense in the next game. They happy, they excited, they celebrated because they ain't used to winning games. So if I plan it, I'm looking at team total. I'm looking at the full game to go over, even though the total dropped a little bit.
Yeah, I know you, Chris. I know you mentioned like their defense struggles, but then the other thing is the Storm been struggling offensively. So I know I just pulled up that same trend, the Fever off of a win. On their side, they actually, and you said they're not playing defense, but they're also continuing their offensive, game. So they've actually gone over in 6 of those 8 games. So
yeah, and Alyssa Smith came back, so it makes sense.
Yeah,
they scored the ball.
Because she helps both sides of the ball too, not only just offensively but defensively as well, and she's able to get the rebounds, the offensive rebounds. So, I could definitely see the Fever team total over, but I think just in case the Storm kind of show up offensively, because Jewel just went off for the record, so I think she wants to continue building off of that.
It's 824 too, Ronald. I just want to mention that real quick. She a big Kobe fan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Might have to look at her points prop tonight because I don't know who the fuck gonna stop her. To be honest, who locking up on the Fever? Like, what are we doing here? Hell, they don't have a defensive stopper on their team. Like,
yeah.
Like the Fever is a good first half over team. If y'all like the over, why y'all not looking at the first half?
First half, yeah, because they'll fade out in the second half too. No, it's a good point. First half over, full game over. Wanted to lean Fever, but I'm not fucking with the Fever today. I'm like, I ain't doing it. That's the type of team that you get to betting on, and you like, man, fuck the NBA, man.
All right, so look at this. So we just talked about the Fever off of a win, right? If you add that they're at home, they're actually 4-0 straight up and against the spread in that spot. So you take that out. You just take that out the picture, the spread out the picture, probably. Just focus on the over, or the team total over on either side, probably, or in some fashion, something with the over, because that's the way that most of the things are looking at.
That makes sense. Let's get to Skee's game now, Ronald.
Yeah,
so just to recap
real quick.
On that game, we liking Chris liking the full game over. Ronald, Steve maybe saying first half over, and Ronald's leaning towards the over in Fever as well, and me as well. I think some points gonna be scored in this game. Let's go over here to the streets of Chi-Town. We got the Sky getting 14.5 points at the house versus the Las Vegas Aces in that one, laying 14.5 on the road. It's crazy because the line actually opened up at 11.5. Then I checked it again. It was up to 14.5. I know Bet Online, like if you like to bet WNBA and you have a Bet Online account, they have the first numbers. And usually if you're liking some, you might want to go ahead and bet it, man. Like I know people want to wait for the show, but WNBA is getting to these lines were out at 4 o'clock my time, at 6 p.m. Eastern yesterday. So I just wanted to let people know that these lines have been out for a while. But Skee, you up first on this one, my brother. What we liking in this game? You like the Aces here?
Nah, I like the Sky, and I like the over too. Damn, they start making all this noise as soon as I start talking. But if you just look at like the Aces, they in a tough part of their schedule. I know you faded them when you was out here versus Sparks, but after them games versus Liberty, now they got a few back-to-back games on the road, and they just haven't been playing their best basketball. You got the Sky who've been at home for I think 2 straight games. They're coming off of a win. they are playing good basketball. So you're giving them 14.5 points. I mean, if Aces haven't been covering lately, the 2 times they played the Sky covered. I think the Sky can keep it close, especially, being at the house. So I like that for them. And also after this game, I believe Sky have more rest than the Aces, so they can go all out kind of deal in this game. So Sky plus 14.5. And when I looked at that query, like all the things I just named, it also pointed to the over. I think it was like 73 or 72% to the over in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
You look at when these teams play, it's went over 4 the last 5 times. I know the team is different this year than last year, but they went over both times this year. So I like points, and I like the Sky.
It's crazy you say this. See, both times they played them, they snuck right in there. They lost a game, but covered that spread as well. One of those games you were on as well. They were getting 13.5 in Vegas and ended up losing by 13. Now they're getting 14.5 at the house. I was kind of just wondering, like, what's going on? Like, somebody just piled money on them. Why did it move up 3 points? But I lean towards the Sky as well. Huge home underdog. They have a couple of like superstar players in Marina Mabry and Kalia Copper or Cooper. I always get that shit wrong, man. Copper. Yeah, Copper. They have a couple players that can keep them in there. You got to play some defense to keep up with the Aces there. But I definitely lean their way. Ronald, what you think about this game?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat there. I'm looking towards the Sky and the over for the most part. I did give out the 169 yesterday to clients, and now it's up to 171. So obviously I like the line movement. It's saying that I'm hopefully in the right direction. But it's tough at this point because my projection had exactly Aces minus 11, and the open was 11.5, right? So it opened pretty closely. And so that's why I didn't take anything on the spread. But now that it's at 14.5, you're seeing some value towards the Sky there. And then the projection as far as the total was to the over. Now it's obviously that value is gone, right, up to 171. But if you just look from a trend perspective too, the Aces, they typically struggle defensively on the road. They're 12-4 to the over on the road, and opponents going over their team total in 11 of those 16 games. I know the Sky, they just struggled in a couple games too for the most part, but they're a really good perimeter shooting team. So if they're able to shoot the 3 ball pretty well and get that going, it's going to force the Aces to push the pace and play a little bit more offense as well. So that's kind of why I was looking towards the over. The other thing to mention too, the Aces failed to cover in 2 straight games. And so far this season, I think it's only happened 3 times. Every time in the 3rd game when they're trying to, obviously, get that cover in that 3rd game, they've actually gone over in each one of those cases. So that's another trend that kind of helps the case for the over as well.
It makes perfect sense, Chris. What you liking here, my brother?
Yeah, not to beat a dead horse, so I'll be pretty quick. I think Skee gave out some really good trends. I think RC followed it up as well. I'll just say this, man. The Aces, to me, not to make it a basketball, an NBA show, but to me, and you guys think about this as I said, the Aces right now, they remind me a lot of Denver. The Nuggets last year when they had 20 games to go, right? Like they don't really have anything to play for, right? Of course they want to win the game, but do you need to win by 15 points? And that's why you give up 100 points to the Atlanta Dream without 2 of their starters, right? They just want to go up and down the court, score as many points as possible. Also put potential letdown spot for Asia Wilson off a 53-point game. I'm not taking a player points after they just, went for 53. Kelsey Plum birthday, so maybe you look towards her prop to go over if you think that correlates with Asia Wilson not having the best game. So those are my thoughts. I lean towards the over as well. Both teams, Skee mentioned it, both teams went over their team total individually, went over their team total, and both games went over by 5 and 34 points in the first 2 matchups this season. So yeah, I would lean towards the over, and I'll be catching the points. I'm not laying with the Aces. They got another game on Saturday against the Mystics in DC that I might be going to.
That was a great point there. First off, I think everything was a great point there about because I noticed as well. I'm like, why are the Aces bullshitting in this game? Like they almost want to lose this game. I was thinking, I'm looking at the record or how many games left. It's 6 or 7 games. You don't want to get any major injuries. They're trying to win a back-to-back championships. They don't really give a damn about these last few games, especially laying 14.5 in a row. That's a great point, Chris. Also, Asia Wilson coming out 53. It's a letdown spot. And if it's Kelsey Plum's birthday, they're definitely going to defer to her over Asia Wilson. That's some great info right there. I must say, man. Looks like we're thinking that Sky and the over are the right sides in this game.
Yeah. Well, let me add something because we're talking about a lot of trends and how the Aces do on the road. One thing that I just added from the SEQL perspective is if they're on the road and it's a non-conference game, they're 1-6 against the spread, 5-2 to the over. In each one of those games, their opponent has gone over their team total, and in the last 4 instances, over their team total by double digits. So they're just, I don't know if it's what Chris just said as far as like they don't care about it, because the last 4 instances have been from July and on. So maybe he's right. Maybe they don't care about it, especially when it's a non-conference game that they have to travel to. This is also the second one on the East Coast, on the East side, and we always talk about, like in the NBA, travel from one side to the other. It's always that second game where that lag starts to hit. So maybe that lag, the tiredness of their legs will happen on the defensive side of the ball, and this guy get up offensively. So I actually really like that game now.
That shit make perfect sense as well, my guys. It makes perfect sense. Maybe the Sky and the over are the two right sides in this game. I know that's what we all pretty much liking in this one. Maybe Skee can go, I don't know if you bet it the other time, but maybe he can go 2-0, 3-0 against the spread with the Sky versus Ace. I'm digging it. Skee, you finna get out here?
Yeah,
get out here, you staying around.
I'm gonna rock with the ponies, but y'all handle your business, and I'll catch y'all next time.
All
right, Skee, it's cash, my brother. Let's go to the next game, Ronald. Let's go over here to, we're going to backtrack just a tad. We're going over here to the streets of Connecticut in this one, man. We got the Sun getting 6 points at the house versus the New York Liberty in this one, man. Looks like the line was kind of going all over the place, opened up at 5.5, went down to 4.5, then it back up to 5.5. Now looking at 6s here for the Liberty. They are already 2-0, I believe. I know straight up, but I believe against the spread as well this year versus the Sun. And it's crazy. I believe the first one they had Breonna Jones. And it's, you know what's the main crazy thing, guys, Chris and Ronald, that the Liberty hadn't even hit their full stride when they beat the Sun the previous 2 times. Now, Jonquel Jones know exactly where to be. Everybody knows where to be. I mean, you see them smacking up the Aces and shit. The Liberty are in their groove now, and I know Jonquel Jones versus Sun. I know they're going to want this one as well, but the Sun can't stop people down low. They don't. Whenever Breonna Stewart get whatever the hell she want in the paint, Jonquel Jones can go back and say a big fuck you to the Sun. She can go off for 30 and 15 tonight if she wants. I was actually thinking like maybe Jonquel Jones rebounds is the play here. Chris, what do you think about this game, my brother?
I think her double, Jay, plus the win. If people interested in that, I'm not playing it, but I want to say it's like plus 410.
Okay.
So
you looked at that already.
I saw it posted on the timeline. Like I said, I'm not on it, but this is my favorite play of the day. Jay, I actually gave out Liberty last night -5 at open. It opened at DraftKings at 5, and that was the first number I could get, and I gave it out. Looking at the game, I'm trying to like come up with my own numbers based on what I'm seeing. And I'll say this: the reason, so it's a fade spot of the Sun, more so because it's their first game back home off a 2-game road trip. But they also had a tough down to the wire finish, right? Like they barely beat. If the Bonner don't hit that 3-pointer late, they lose that game, right? So they had to fight all the way to the end. One of the reasons why I want to fade them in this spot. Also, major rest advantage. Like we're not talking about 3 days to one. We talking about 5 days to one. The Liberty literally haven't played a game. They played the Aces twice. Then they had the back-to-back against the Mercury the next game. They haven't played a game since then, right? And if you look at the number, the Sun 0-4 against the spread when they're at a major rest disadvantage. When they're not even a major rest disadvantage, when they're at a disadvantage over the season, they're 0-4. They haven't covered one single spread. So for all of those reasons, I know the only thing I heard you in my mind, kind of Jay talking, saying I don't want to, it's the revenge spot, right? But I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna play it anyway because all of this kind of makes the most sense to me. I think when we think about lines, right, we think about home court equaling about 3 points. So you telling me that the Liberty only 2 points better on a neutral court? I think the Liberty play a little bit better on the road per se than they do at home, just because their defense gets a little lax. They get a little lax at home, but I like them more on the road, Jay. So I like the 5. I like that the line's moving in my direction, but of course that don't mean nothing if the play don't cash. But I think they win the game by 7 to 8 points today. And like you mentioned, Jay, it's Jonquel for me, right? It's Jonquel for me. Since she's picked it up, it's made the world of a difference for this New York Liberty team. They got shooters. Sabrina spray. RC girl, what's her name? RC
Marine.
Marine, Johannes off the bench. Let that thing go from 3. Yeah, like so they can score, but they also can defend. And all of those reasons, I like the major rest advantage. I like that, you know, the Liberty play up the competition too, Jay. When they playing against the Aces, when they playing against the Sun, that's when they play their best basketball, right? So I'm not worried about a letdown spot for the Liberty having the major rest advantage in this spot. And I don't like that, you know, the Sun have played 2 games since the Liberty played their last game. So give me the Liberty. I took them at open in -5.
That's a great point there. And you know something that I noticed in WNBA? You can try to look at revenge spots. Like, this ain't the NBA. Sometimes a team is just better than the other there. My God. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know why my shit
chopping
lagging,
up a little bit, but yeah.
It caught up, Jay. It caught up, Jay.
Sometimes a team is just better than the other one, and they might beat them. They might smack their ass all 4 matchups of the season. So I lost some money trying to go with double revenge spots like that. No, sometimes that team just matches up really well versus them. And like I say, the fact that the Liberty already beat them twice when they were kind of just filling things out. Jonquel Jones was on a minutes restriction outlet, and now they're full throttle trying to smack everybody up, trying to catch up with the Ace. I mean, they're probably not going to do it, but I can only look Liberty here. I'm sorry. I know it's double revenge for the Sun. I know that I don't care. It's Liberty or nothing for me here, Ronald. How you looking at this game, my brother?
Yeah, I actually looked at it a little bit differently than you guys. I know there is that revenge angle, but I didn't take that into account really. But some of the biggest things that I looked at really was, you know, if you include the Commissioner's Cup, right, game against the Aces, Liberty have actually played 8 road games in 10 games. So there's a lot of travel going on. And I know you said this is actually their 5th straight road game, if you include that as well. They had 2 home games in between, like road trips and stuff like that. But if you look at the several days of rest, right, 5 days to one thing that I looked at too was what happens in those situations when, you know, obviously I pull in the SCQL part of it, but it's that rest versus rust, you know, factor, right? That's 5 days or more. I looked at 5 days or more in the WNBA, 5 days or more versus a team on 1 day of rest. That's not the playoffs, excluding the playoffs. Right. 33 and 57 and 3 in the history of the database, fading those teams with the rest advantage. It is that rest versus rest factor that I was looking at, and also to the under as well. So that's like what 36% on the spread there. So fading them, and then also to the under about 60% to the under in those games. This season it has been. There's only been three instances, 2-1 against the spread and 3-0 to the under. So the under continues to follow that trend. Obviously, there's only 3 games, so the ATS for the team with the more rest is up a little bit, but that's the way that I was looking at it. It's all about that travel fatigue that I was looking at, and also the rest versus rust. So I kind of look towards the Sun here, and I know it's moved towards the Liberty as far as like the open number to the close, but yeah, that's the way that I looked. That's actually the way that I went. So I like obviously the biggest thing is that I want to say when we do these shows and we're always on, we're not always on the opposite side. We're not always together, but when we're on the opposite side, we can talk about our thought process and all that stuff. I think that's what benefits the viewers, right? Like facts, in my opinion. So everyone can kind of see what our thought process is and take on that. If we lose, one of us loses. Obviously, one of us is going to lose. Facts. But at the same time, I know in the long run, I could trust that both of us are going to be winners. So
I like how Ronald came in there. Ronald, like, not so fast. I like the other side. I did look at that as well, Ronald, that they hadn't played in like 5 or 6 days. I didn't look the fact that they had so many home games. I bet you what they did. I bet you they went home after the Phoenix game and then they went to Connecticut. And this, I was about to say this to the last part of Chris, that you actually might find a better live betting line with the Liberty. I saw somebody in the chat say Liberty first quarter. That would be the worst spot for them in this game. They could still come back and win the game, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Liberty came out with a slow start. Simply put, because basketball-wise, the Sun are more in basketball form right now, where the Liberty kind of been, sitting up, chilling or whatever. Liberty are still the better team. I'm a big fan of going with the better team can win over the course of the game. I didn't bet this game. I still lean Liberty, but I'll be honest, if I'm liking Sun, I'd be taking them first quarter, first half. I think that's where they have the highest advantage. And one last thing I want to say, because I've seen this a lot. People say, if I win this play, you got to bring me on the show. You got to win for like 5 years straight type shit to get on this fucking show. I want people to know this. So one game going up against us, you can pat yourself on the back all you want. You have to do that shit consistently. I'd say at least 2 years for you to come on here and think that you could be on the show with us. So I love y'all in the chat. It's all love, but I just stop saying it. Like one game, like that you're against us or something like that. If you cash it, it's cool. You can think that's the biggest thing in the world. You have to do this shit consistently, like day after day. So I just want to say, like, step your game up. Step your game up. If you want to be on this show, it's possible that people can earn their way on this show, but come in here, post your picks in the chat. Hey, if you get to hitting consistently, I'll notice you and you can come on the show. But it's not going to be just from one game. I had to say that. Let's get to the next one, my guys. Last game up, my brothers. We heading over here to the streets of Dallas in this. We got the Wings. We eating chicken today. We got the Wings laying 7.5 points at the house versus the Minnesota Lynx. A little back-to-back here. A little home, the true home and home, right? Do I like that Sabali's questionable? Hell no. Honestly, I don't have a strong feel in this game. Do I think the Wings are the better team? I do, but I think the Lynx are very underrated. In my opinion, I think they have a really good coach, and the Wings just have like this sporadic type of play. They can beat the Aces, they can beat the Liberty, and then they'll just lose to some, you know what I'm saying? They'll lose to a team that's not as good as them. So I'm not sure what to do with the Wings. You kind of have to pick and choose your spots with them. But Chris, what do you think? You eating hot wings today or what?
If I'm eating hot wings, Jay, it's only going to be during the first quarter, man. I can't. And the reason I say that, Jay, is because I don't know if y'all watched the game, but it was a very controversial game, man. Like Satu ended up getting hurt on the flagrant foul. It was a fan that was sitting behind the bench, yelling, screaming, like some pretty poor comments, and to the point where like the coach for the Lynx like turned around and like asked her like, "Hey, can you be quiet? This is not a good representation of our organization." They ended up kicking her out. Satu hit the free throws and blew the kisses at the fans, and it kind of erupted in there. So it's a lot of spice and a lot of narrative to this one. Okay. I just think that, and I thought about this, Jay. I think that I missed a really good spot in the last game, because if you remember, the Lynx were coming off a poor loss. They had lost to the Storm, got smacked to the Storm at home, and they got called out. They got called out afterwards. So we should have known that they were going to come out with something opposite, right? Because we want to catch teams going the opposite ways. You look at what the Wings had just done. They had just went on the road and beat the Washington Mystics, beat them by 13, laying like I think 4.5 or 5.5. So we should have knew that it was going to be a little bit of a letdown spot from that perspective. But like you said, Jay, the Wings are up and down. Typically, you want to play on them once you get their attention. When they're dogs, right? Because they then went to Vegas and kept a game close, beat Vegas at home, and went to New York and beat the Liberty as well, right? Exactly. So when you get their attention, if I want Satu in, Jay, and then I want to get on them, but I think that I need her in, and I don't want to play the full game, but I do like the first quarter, first half looks, right? I haven't played either, but I think that they're the best looks just because I think the Wings will wake up a little bit, right? What's Trammell? What's the coach name?
Which one? For the Wings?
For the Wings, Nutrition Trammell or something like that. I think she'll get that team to perform well and bounce back. And I want to say that it's her first year coaching, I think, and they one win away from having more wins in franchise history or something like that. I think I saw. You seen that, Ronald? I like all of that. I think it's a bounce back spot for them. They kind of got to get kicked a little bit to bounce back, Jay. But I would play first quarter, first half, because I think they come out motivated. I also think that crowd's going to be in a good spot as well. So stream,
one question.
To play.
Did Sabali did she? I didn't watch the game. I'm in Vegas. Ankle, Jay. Pretty bad.
Twisted pretty bad. But she stayed in the game. She laced them shoes and she stayed out there. And I think because she blew the kisses at the crowd, I think she's gonna play. Play.
That's tough though.
They got some motivation.
Yeah, but we've all been there, right? We all rolled the ankle, and when that happens, you can continue playing after you tighten up the laces because you have that adrenaline, right? But the morning after, you're like, fuck, right? That's when you start to feel it. So I'm probably gonna. I don't know if
I can't say. There was another game where Sabali hurt her shoulder pretty bad, and she was like, I thought she dislocated or separated, and I'm like, she probably gonna be out the next game, man. Her ass was in there. She came out, scored about 25 points. I said, damn, boy. So I mean, but you're exactly right with that ankle, though. It depends on how. That's why I said I have to see it. But Chris is right. That was the spot last game for the Lynx.
You remember when we were talking about Jewel Lloyd and the Storm before the show about how when I knew she was about to sit out the next game. It's the same situation. Late game, she rolled her ankle. You could see her like kind of hobbling off of the court. She finished the game. She did finish the game, but then she missed the next game. You could just tell off of how they were kind of just like really light on her ankle,
Right.
and I mean that could be the situation, but I don't know if I could touch this game until I know that, right? Because if you look at
Thanks.
how who was it? I think it's the Wings. They've gone over in 12 of their last 14 games, right?
Can
Their
defense.
offense has been like just really crazy, and a lot of it has to do with how Sabali has been playing. She's really that glue to that offense. Me and Skee always joke around about Arike and how she throws up all these dumbass shots. You know what I mean? Like she's that point forward that they need to get this offense going, like rolling. And
Thanks.
without her, I can't trust it. And so for me, if she's in there, if she does look healthy, maybe you'll look towards the over again. But other than that, man, like I don't know if I could touch this game without knowing her official status, because I think she's more important to that team than most people think.
No, that made perfect sense. I like the Wings team. I just wish they were more consistent. Honestly, I'll be honest with you guys, just from I don't think they like playing with Arika. I know she's like a super max player. She's the second highest player in the WNBA. Anybody that's on her fucking team, that's why Marina Mabry wanted out. They do not like playing with her. It's just something I noticed. I'm with you, Chris, but the spot says Wings first quarter, first half. Even if they can't get it done, because sometimes they'll be trash in the third quarter. They'll have a 10-point lead in the 3rd quarter, then now the game is tied. Like I don't know what the fuck be going on with them, but their Wings in the first quarter, first half would be a good like turnaround, bounce back, revenge spot. You know what I'm saying? At the house, turn up. But I know that the Lynx aren't I know that they're like a tough-minded team. Remember, they started out 0-6 and they've climbed their way all the way back. So really, you look at it after 6 games. I mean, they got one of the top records in the league if you look at it like this. So it's a really tough game. This is one for sure that I know I love revenge spots, but WNBA has shown me that shit doesn't always matter. You see what I'm saying? Whereas like the teams aren't as even as you think. Sometimes they just have different matchup advantage in this one, man. So I'm staying off this game, man. Let's get out of here. Let's recap these plays. We've been in here for 31 minutes here, Chris. You had some great looks, some great info. This is the first time you're on the WNBA show. We got to bring you back, man. I don't care if it's all 4 of us, man. We got to bring you back on this motherfucker, but what you liking today, Chris?
I appreciate that, Jay. Always good to chop it up with y'all, man. I wrote down some stuff that we talked about earlier too. I probably gonna look at that Fever Storm first half over that Skee mentioned. I know I talked about the full over, and then RC just kind of backed up. But I was thinking about with the Sky, even if they lose the game, they probably still go over their team total because the Aces don't want to play no defense. So it kind of took their foot off the gas. But top play for me, I like the Liberty. Like I said, I gave it out yesterday. I make the line 6.5. I got it at 5 yesterday. Gave it out at 5. So give me the Liberty, plus the 5. I just like the major rest advantage. And like you said, Jay, if you want to take the Sun as a home dog, because they are one of the better teams, and I don't like fading the Sun. I don't fade the Sun too often. You probably want to do it first quarter, first half. They are in more rhythm. And if they're going to fade, it's going to be towards the end of the game after they exerted so much energy. So, no Alyssa Thomas. She's still, not Alyssa Thomas, but Bree Jones is still out. And you see the Sun kind of, even in that last game, their offense gets a little stagnant, right? Alyssa Thomas also not going to be able to just go down there and bully the way that she did. She be stiff-arming people, truck up. So give me.
I think it was the last time they played. Didn't Alyssa Thomas like give Breanna Stewart like a black eye?
Boom.
Oh shit!
No, it wasn't her. That was I think that was who gave her that? It might have been her. I don't think it was her though. Maybe I'm wrong. But I know
that's something to note. That's something I think I need to find that out because Stewie is the type of player.
By the end of the timeout, it was crazy.
She's the type of player that's like, all right, motherfucker, all right,
real
and
quiet.
She can do it. This the only problem is this is my only problem. I feel like you can get whatever you want in the paint versus the Sun. They play good perimeter defense. They got a nice offense, transition, all that. Bonner not making threes. I don't really trust him, but I still feel like you pass it to whoever down low, and you're going to get fouled or you're going to get the bucket or you're going to get both. So regardless of the spread in that particular game, Chris, was you finished with your looks?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. No, that was it.
Man, on that particular game, I'd be looking at Jonquel Jones rebounds, possibly even double-double, possibly even points. She has extra motivation going back there, like whether they're not playing defense or it's a bad game for them or not. Matchup advantage for her and Breanna Stewart is something worth noting as far as props, in my opinion. It's just something I noticed with the Sun. They're not stopping any bigs. It's not going to happen. You see what I'm saying? They can stop whoever in perimeter, but down low, it's not going to happen. I do lean Sun in the first quarter. I ain't gonna lie, I'm thinking about it. I don't bet a lot of first quarters. The Sun have a major advantage in that first quarter, in my opinion. Major advantage. And I know they're getting like plus 1.5 in that first quarter. Got to. Yeah, plus 1.5 for the first quarter there. Heavy lean to Sun in the first quarter there. I lean towards, I don't even lean Fever. Fuck that team. I lean first half over and full game over. And then the Sky, man, the Sky, that 14.5 is just kind of looking. I know it's too many points. They're a very erratic type of team as well, but I still feel like it's more on the Aces just not really playing their best game right now, kind of realizing they don't need to blow everybody out and exert all this energy. They're going to save it for the playoffs and try to blow some teams out. So Sky plus 14.5, the over on that one. And those would be my looks. Sky plus 14.5, over on that one. Sun in the first quarter. Jonquel Jones points and rebounds, and then that Fever Seattle first half over, full game over. Hadn't bet anything. Not really worried about WNBA. I just love coming on here breaking down the games with you guys, man. Ronald, what you liking today, my brother? What you got going over at Wichita?
Before I get into that, Mo Harris with WNBA is hard to predict. I think that's every single sport. That's not just the WNBA. I think sports betting in general is just hard. No matter what you're doing, no matter what sport it is, we could be grinding MLB. You could play 300 bets, be up like 3 units. You know what I mean? And be happy about it. You know what I mean? Everything that we're betting on in sports, whatever league it is, it's gonna be hard. But for me, I did, like I said, I played the 169 over 169 on the Aces Sky. I don't recommend the 171.5 or whatever it is now. It's just a little bit higher than I want it to be. But what we talked about today and what we brought up, and shout out to Chris for coming on here and talking about that game, because I didn't dive deep into it as much as I wanted to, as far as from a side perspective, because I kind of just walked away from it when I knew it was so close to what my projection was. But with the trends that we looked at, that Sky team total over looks like the best spot on the board for me. So I would say I'm going to be adding that to my ticket, and so that was probably, I would say that would probably be my favorite bet that we talked about today, that where the line hasn't moved, right? And then the other one that we talked about that I didn't play was the Storm Fever over, and I really want to look towards that one too now. So those are the two that I didn't have tickets on, and I plan on adding to my premium card. So I would say I want to drop those two on there. Other than that, the other ones, the line has shifted to the point where I wouldn't recommend it. And then the Lynx Wings, I just don't want to touch because I don't know if Sabali is playing. So that's what I want to end with there.
Yeah, and Wings were at 3.5 yesterday too, so I would not be laying 7.5 when I could have laid 3.5 with them. I guess if you like the links, that's better for you. But my top 3 looks would be Connecticut Sun first quarter plus 1.5, Chicago Sky plus 14.5, and then Seattle and Fever first half over. That would be my top 3 looks. Hadn't bet neither one of them, guys, but I ain't gonna lie, I do think them shit's going 3-0. To be honest, it's just like when I'm betting something, I gotta be like, nah, this the fucking play right here. Like this the spot. I won't be mad if it lose here. So lately I hadn't really been getting that feeling with WNBA, man. But we talk some shit out. All we can do is come here and give you the info, let you know how we looking. Whatever you guys decide to bet, man, we hope y'all cash today, man. It's all love. I'm your host, Jay Money. We got our guy Chris B. Capital with us for the first appearance on the WNBA show. We gotta stay consistent, man. We gotta do this every Tuesday and Thursday, my guys. Shout out to my guy Ronald as well, man. It's all love. Everybody in the chat, let's get some cash today, man. We appreciate y'all tuning in. And we out, man. Let's go.
Peace.